Great. Sorry about that.
No, not a problem. How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you currently located?
I'm in Chicago.
Okay, nice, nice. Well, congratulations on four.
Yeah.
Of course, coming out earlier this month. What was it like recording this record? Obviously, in the middle of a pandemic and getting the guys together. And of course, this is about a decade you've been with these guys doing records.
These characters. Yeah. No, it was a really fun record to make. It was very cathartic to make at the time that we did it because we'd been locked down for so long. And we did it at a great studio in Nashville the studio is called RCA Studio 8, and it's a very legendary studio. A lot of great people have recorded there. And we did it with the great Dave Cobb, who was really a lot of fun to work with. And we recorded this album live, more live than anything I've recorded to date, as far as studio records are concerned. So the whole thing was quite the experience.
Nice, nice. Of course, we're going to have you here, Tropicana, Atlantic City, on March 11th with Flush. I think there's something like 10 tickets left now, so we're gonna have this thing sold out by the time you get.
Well, I'm gonna go buy them then.
Bring your friends. I like it. So I've been going through the new record, and I've been listening off and on throughout the month. A few songs that stand out. Obviously, The River Is Rising, great song, doing well on radio. Actions Speak Louder Than Words, Spirit Love. Just the groove on those songs, I'm digging, and I love the aggressiveness on Call Off the Dogs. I'm not sure if that's in the set, but I could imagine that'd be a great song to play live.
It's funny because we started out the tour right before the album came out, and we put Rivers Rising in there, and so we've been sneaking songs into the set since the record came out, and now we're at that point now where we're running out of other we're too many songs in the set are from the new record. Yeah. But so yeah, you'll hear probably all those.
Nice, awesome, man. And obviously you got those four records. You have the first Slash solo record when you work with a bunch of people. I would assume at this point in time, and I think I remember the last time I saw you live, your other bands that's out of the set now. It's all Slash, Myles Kennedy, and The Conspirators.
Yeah, well, I'm obviously playing with Guns N' Roses all the time, and so originally it wasn't really for the audience that we were doing the Guns N' Roses songs. It was just because I missed playing those songs, and it was having my solo thing going on was like an ability for me to be able to play stuff from the whole catalog. So that's where the Guns stuff came at that time. But now that I'm back in the band, it's sort of redundant to play gun songs in this band, so yeah, we phased them out.
Nice. So like I said, you've been working with Myles and The Conspirators for about a decade now. Was it always a goal? Because obviously the first solo record, you had a lot of different guest vocalists. It's always a goal to keep this as a unit and a full band.
It's just something that happened when I worked with Myles for the first time on that first solo record. I had never heard him sing before. I'd only heard about him. And he sort of blew my mind with his incredible range, and also he's just a really cool, down-to-earth guy, and he and I enjoyed working together on those two songs for that record, Back from Cali and Starlight. So I needed to do a tour to support that record, and I asked him if he wanted to sing, because I couldn't think of anybody that could sing that wide gamut of styles from all the different bands that I've been in. And so he signed on to do it. And then I met Brent Fitz. He introduced me to Todd Kearns. And all of a sudden I had this really great little band that had a really kind of amazing chemistry right out of the box. And so while we were doing that tour and we were having a great time working together on the road, I thought, well, if I'm going to do another record, I'll just do it with these guys. And that's where Apocalyptic Love came from. Went out on tour on that. And then I wrote the next bunch of material for the next record. And we've just been doing it like that ever since.
That's awesome. I mean, a great band. You put on a great live show. You played here several times in Atlantic City. Obviously, you got that band, Guns. You've worked with other artists, but I had a gentleman in the studio a few weeks ago, Chris Daltrey, and we were talking about when you did the song "What I Want" with him, and then I started going through, Sammy Hagar, Alice Cooper, Ozzy, Bob Dylan. I mean, the amount of artists that you've collaborated with is insane. How do you make that decision on who to maybe guest on a record with? Because I'm sure they come from left, right, and everywhere trying to get you.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, some come from chance meetings where you'll just be at the same place at the same time and have that conversation and things end up happening. Or sometimes somebody will give me a call, like the case of Chris Daughtry, that was a call that I got. Things just sort of happened. There's never a lot of pre-planning that goes into that. They're very sort of spontaneous, but it's fun and it's great. It's a great experience. It's great learning how to adapt to different people's situations and recording styles and personalities. And it's also cool. It keeps you humble. It reminds you that you're not the fucking center of the universe. And you say, no, it's cool. It's good to
Yeah.
be down in the trenches with everybody. So yeah, I enjoy doing a lot. I haven't had time to do hardly any outside sessions up until because I've been juggling between Guns and the Conspirators. But over the pandemic, I worked with Tom Morello. I worked on Leslie West's tribute record. I did the Black Puma was conservation song that came out just a minute ago. And I just did a Fear collaboration with Fear, and Duff and I both did that. So I was sort of busy over the pandemic, but now that I'm back on the road, it's back to touring between Conspirators and Guns.
Yeah, Chris Daughtry had the best line when he said you walked in, you had your guitar, and he's like, you said, "Mr. Slash, do you mind if I watch you play?" And you were like, "Dude, it's your record." And he's like, "Okay." And then he said, "You're just the coolest dude to just chat with and just hang."
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, any artists that you haven't collaborated with that you wish would come calling, like a bucket list?
I would love to play with Stevie Wonder. That would be cool,
Wow.
And he and I have met and we've talked about it, but it's never happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's countless artists that I admire and would love to get a phone call saying, hey, but you just sort of they just happen when they happen. You can't really walk around sort of trying to make it happen. You just sort of let things fall where they may.
Yeah. And listen, we just talked about all the collaborations. Guns. You got the Conspirators and Myles, and I've spoken with Myles over the years and yourself, and I'm like, whoever your managers are, keeping your two schedules, and I don't even know the other guys in the Conspirators and what projects they have, but everything you guys have going on from what you have, and then of course Myles has his solo stuff and Alter Bridge.
Yeah.
I hope they get paid well to keep those schedules.
No, we've got a couple really good managers in there. And we had a really good system going where everything was sort of woven together pretty tight. And then the pandemic came and just sort of screwed everything up. So now we're trying to get back into like a good, reasonable, workable schedule. So I'm out with the Conspirators now, and then I'm out with Guns doing makeup tours for 2020 in Europe, Australia, South America. And so then I'll do international stuff with the Conspirators starting the beginning of 2023. So it's all over the place, but we manage. We just find different lanes and make it work.
Well, that being said, with how busy you are and you're already planning into 2023 with the pandemic and being home, I've talked to so many artists that were like, they didn't know what to do with themselves. Sometimes they hadn't been home that long. Like, how did you handle it?
It's hard. Like when the reality of no end in sight really became apparent, I just got to work. That's the only answer for that kind of dead time that there is. I used to have I have a long and bad history of downtime and the way that I choose to spend it. So yeah, after years and years of experience and so on, I just learned just to focus on working. So I worked on Guns material during the pandemic. I worked on this record during the pandemic, and I did a bunch of outside sessions. And then I also produced a movie and did the soundtrack for a movie that's coming out hopefully this year, called The Breach, which we did in Canada. Well, so when I say I produced a movie, I mean I did, but they shot it in Canada. I wasn't actually there. I couldn't go, but I did the score over at my place.
What's that like, doing a score for a movie as opposed to working with Myles and Conspirators or say Guns N' Roses, where you're
working on a score is a lonely job. It's a lonely, slow, and really all things considered boring process because you're just sitting at your console at a monitor and trying to get everything in sync. And I personally don't like scoring, and I shouldn't even call it scoring, because what I'll do is I'll write stuff for a scene and then I'll let the scoring composer edit it and do all that stuff. I don't have the patience for it.
Nice, nice. Well, 4 is available now. Came out February 11th. The River is Rising, doing very well here on WMGM. We can't wait to have you here on March 11th here at Tropicana AC. You were just here. You were just here with Guns in September over at the Hard Rock. So we love having Slash and however you come to us. We love having you here in Atlantic City, and we thank you for taking some time. Continued success, and we'll see you on the 11th, my friend.
All right, man. Well, listen, it's good talking to you, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you. So
awesome. Take care, sir. Be good.
Cheers.